Now that we're in the Azure portal, we're going to look at creating a virtual machine. Look up to the top left, we hit add. See how we have many different options. We're going to choose Windows Server, what we're creating today. Again, quite a few options. Scroll down and take a look at a few of these. And then we're going to find, in this case, we're going to find Windows Server 2012 R2 Data Center. Next screen, we get two choices here, Resource Manager or Classic. We're going to choose the Resource Manager in the new portal. Hit Create. Then we're presented with some options. I'm going to go ahead and name the virtual machine. Once our machine is named, we're going to look at the disk type. We have two options here, SSD and HDD. This is going to be a domain controller, so I'm going to go ahead and pick HDD. We're going to give ourselves a username so we can get into the machine. We're going to create a password. Then we're going to confirm that password. We want to make sure we're creating the right subscription. In this case, I only have one. We're going to create a new resource group in which to assign this virtual machine to. We could create a new one if we didn't have one already, but I have one created already. We're going to go ahead and hit OK there. And then we choose the size of our machine. Again, as we were talking, I give some default choices that Microsoft recommends for me to choose, which isn't a bad choice, but I'm going to go ahead and look at the view all option here so I can see all my options for the virtual machines. And we get a list. And we'll scroll down through that list. As we're scrolling through this list, I'm looking to create a domain controller for a very low volume environment. So I want to find a machine that meets those necessary needs. So when we take a look at this, the machine's a little big for what I do, maybe better for a database. The one I'm looking for is right above it. It's got one core, 2 gig of RAM, and it's going to cost me $48.36 a month to run that. So that's the one I want to pick. Once we select that, we get another menu where we've got to make some choices here. First of all is our storage account. I've already pre-created a storage account, so I could create a new one if I hadn't done that already right from here, or I can just go ahead and pick the one. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and create a new one for this project. We hit create new. I'm going to rename the default. You can choose the default or you can rename it. We want standard performance. Again, just a domain controller for a light workload. And we have some choices here. Local redundant storage, geo-redundant storage. For domain controllers, I like to do geo-redundant storage. That way I have some flexibility in case I have some issues related to storage. In this case, it's going to put one in the East Coast, and it's also going to put one like in the West Coast or another geography. That way I don't have any downtime. On the networking side, it defaults to the one VNet just to show you here the choices. I could create a new one again, or I'm going to go ahead and pick one I've already created for this account. It creates a new public IP address for this machine. And in this case, I want to add some extensions. This is going to give us a list of all the extensions. In this case, the extension I want to add is Microsoft anti-malware, antivirus. Again, lots of choices here of a lot of third-party products as well as Microsoft products. Go ahead and create that extension. Hit OK on this screen. Then we're going to hit the create. We're going to hit OK, and then we're going to get a roll-up of what we've chosen. I'm going to look that over, make sure it looks the way we want it to look, and hit OK. And that's going to take us back to the main page, our main Azure dashboard. We take a look over here and we see the machine is deploying. So we'll wait for that machine to create. It's now finished. To look at the machine in our virtual machine tab, you can see I've got a few others. We'll go ahead and click into this virtual machine. It's listed right here. It's up and running. Get a brief overview of the machine and some statistics that it starts gathering on the machine that Azure does for us. CPU percentage, disk and read writes, some networking options, name of the machine, resource group that it belongs to, some information like that. Our Azure account. We'll go ahead and hit connect and connect to this machine. It's going to establish a remote desktop connection with that. We just hit connect, take the defaults here, and we're going to need to put in our username and password that we created. Again, take the defaults here. If we don't want it to bug us anymore, we can check that box, and it's going to connect to our virtual machine. We can see up at the top its public address, and it's going to load just like what you're used to. It's the first time in, so we're going to tell it we want it to be able to use other networks. Again, standard stuff. And our server manager will load. That'll take a couple seconds. Just to show you what we got going on, we'll hit the local server tab here. We can see our machine name. It starts out in the work group, which we can change that to the main, local, or a hybrid, which would be another video that I create showing you how to connect from Azure to on-site. We'll go out here, hit our command prompt, take a look at our IP address. By default, Azure uses dynamic IP addresses. So we can see the dynamic IP address that's been assigned here. It's in the range of the subnet we created earlier on our VNet. Then we want to go in and set that to a static. So we take a look at our network interfaces tab. We can see our network interface that was created. We'll go ahead and click down into that. Get a roll-up screen of what's going on there. We want to hit IP configuration. Go ahead and click on our actual configuration. And then we get the static choice. So we're going to go ahead and change that to a static. At this point, we could change the IP address. For this demo, that's great. We'll hit save. Commits our changes, saving the changes to our network interface to now make it a static IP address.